What's up everybody? Tony Avite with Timeshare Simplified. I want to show you today how to actually make a timeshare exchange, or if you're looking to get out of your timeshare, or if you want to get the most of it, or if you want to sell it and get out of it, maybe watch this video first, because I absolutely hated my timeshare the first 6 years when I bought it. I could never get anywhere, I could never get in, and it only took me finally when I met the owner of an exchange company, he taught me how to use it, to actually be able to, get some enjoyment out of it, get my money's worth or whatever. So what I want to do is, I think I've done this before, but I want to tell like a quick story because I think people learn better by the story. So if you're thinking of selling your timeshare, if you're thinking of getting out of it, if you're trying to exchange it and you're not having any luck, because trust me, if you just try to call up Interval, or if you try to call up RCI and you're like, hey, I want to go to Hawaii next year, or I want to go to Newport Beach next week, or whatever, and I'm almost going to guarantee you never get said yes to. And the only time you're able to trade through any of those companies is to get, resorts you don't really want to go to in Topeka, Kansas, or whatever. Some whatever not cool places. So I apologize if the dogs bark. It's hard enough for me to do these videos, so I have to put up with my life of twin 5-year-olds and giant Japanese Akitas and RVs going in and out and people going in and out. So sorry. So if you want to trade, okay, so if you want to trade, listen to the end of my story, because it is a very simple process. But what's simple to do is simple not to do. And it didn't really make sense to me on how to do it until, and I sold timeshares at the time, but I was only like 21 and I had just started using it, and I only learned what they taught me in training class. And for you people who bought it on vacation when you weren't even paying attention, and then you spent $20,000, $30,000, and now you got these points, or you got this week in a different season, and you didn't even think about it till a year later, and you're paying all this money on it, and you're like, well, I just want to go here. Can't I just go here and do that with this week? I paid $30,000 for it. And they're like, no, you can't do that. And so you're like, what the yeah. So, so when I dropped out of college, I didn't have any money, and I dropped out of college, and I went home. And I had like a mean stepfather growing up. He's always like, you're a loser, you'll never own a house, you'll never do this and that. And so I saw the look on his face when I got home, and he like had this grin. And so I took off, and I moved to Las Vegas in an old truck my uncle gave me. It had a racquetball guy statue on it. I had $300 that I earned bartending, and I just took off. I left. I just moved to Las Vegas, and I found like this budget suites motel behind the Hard Rock, and with questionable characters running around there, and I was determined to become successful. So after like a few months, I went on this job interview, and the guy's like, well, we sell timeshares. And I was like, what the heck's that? And he's like, well, most people can't afford to travel. And I was like, all right, check, yeah, I got that. And he's like, and I was thinking of my mom, because when I was a little kid, I'd always be like, Mom, I want to go on vacation. And she was like a single mom most of my life. And she's like, oh, just go run around the sprinklers, mijo. And I was like, well, that's not what the kids at school said about Disneyland, but whatever. And then he's like, either that or people work too much and they have to, force themselves to go on vacation. He's like, or people spend, a bunch of money at hotels, and this is cheaper after 10 years. And if they own it longer than 10 years, then all their vacations are paid for. They just pay the maintenance on it. I was like, oh, that sounds like a good deal. So my first month, I made like $6,000 because I was so excited. And then I was telling people, hey, you just call up and you go to Hawaii, and you go to Newport Beach at the Marriott, and you go to Europe and all these places. And I was doing great. And then they had an employee special one time, and they're like, and you could buy one at the Jockey Club for like $6,000 or $8,000. And my boss comes to me. He's like, look, he's like, you're a young man. He's like, you're good at this. He's like, but if you own what you sell, you'll sell more. He's like, why don't you buy one of these, and then you can use it, and then tell people about you're using it at such a young age, and it'll make you sell more deals. He's all that, and stay in this business. You'll make 6 figures your whole life. And you can go tell your stepdad, do you know what? And I was like, all right. He knew how to sell me. So I bought this thing, and did all this paperwork, and I was all excited, and I've been selling them for a while, and then I got it, and I was like, all right, Big Daddy's going on vacation. I called, was like, hey, I'll go to the Marriott Newport Beach next week. And that guy's like, yeah, not available. And I was like, all right, well, how about Lake Tahoe on the 4th of July? Not available. I was like, how about a week in Hawaii? I was like, how about, can I get in Hawaii? He's like, 3 months notice? No way. I was like, what? So for like 4 or 5 months, I tried to use this thing. And of course, I have expensive tastes, even though I was born poor. I like want to stay at the nice places. So I try to get into all the good timeshare resorts. And yeah, I could never get in. So I actually quit because I didn't want to sell something if it didn't like work, and I felt bad like selling these people this thing, and then I couldn't even use it, and so you don't want to sell something like that. And I went to work for a timeshare resale rental company, and I was like, oh, okay, well, people can't use it, they could rent it out. This sounds good, but after a while, I realized I was charging people like $500 to sell their timeshare. But the guy never like sold them. He would just take people's $500 and he would, it was kind of like a scam. I didn't realize it at the time because I was young, and I mean, I kind of caught on after a few months. I was like, well, where do we put them up at, or where do you rent them out at? And then he's like, oh, we put ads up and yada yada. So that's my fault for being kind of dumb. But so I only worked there for a little bit, but I did talk to a lot of timeshare owners over those few months. And I did meet a lot of people that were renting them out. So I met one guy who rented it out for the Olympics one year for like in 2000 or 2001 or whatever for like he got like $7,000 or $8,000. I was like, oh, that's a sweet deal. That's not bad. So I quit that job, left for 2 years, yada yada, started a landscaping business, and then I moved back to Vegas, and I was bartending at night, and my old boss I sold timeshare with came in. And he's like, dude, he's like, why are you bartending? He's like, I was like, well, I own a landscaping business. He's like, dude, come sell timeshares with me. I was like, I'm not selling that stupid ass thing I bought that I can't even use, that I've been paying on for 6 years. Well, I might have missed a few payments, but I still ended up paying it. But I was like, I'm not selling that. He's like, no, I work with owners. He's like, come work with me. He's like, I work with people that already own them, and then all we do is we upgrade them, so they've already bought it, so you're just helping them to use it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not a bad deal. Plus I had just met this blonde girl who later became my wife, and he's like, dude, you're gonna date a girl that hot, you better start making some money. And I was like, all right, yeah, good point. So I got back into it, yada yada. My first year I was like the #1 guy. And but I ran into like 80% of people though actually loved the timeshare. They were like going everywhere, doing all this stuff, going to the resorts, trading in the nice places. 20-30% were like me. They're like, this thing sucks. I can never get in where I want. The maintenance is too high. The maintenance goes up every year. And I was like, yeah, I hear that. So I wasn't a good salesman. Sometimes I was like, yeah, this shit's expensive. And so I went to the timeshare convention because I always like to read books. I read a lot of Tony Robbins and whatnot, try to get better. And so I went to the timeshare convention. My buddy had tickets. He knew the guy there. So make sure this doesn't time out. Okay, I'm talking. So we went to the timeshare convention. I met this guy, Corey Phelps. He's the owner of the San Francisco Exchange. It's a high-end timeshare exchange. And I was talking to him, and I was like, Corey, how come nobody can ever trade these damn things anywhere? How come you can never trade these and get where you want? And he's like, look, he's like, dude, you can trade them. He's like, you just can't do what it doesn't work like you think it would. You can't just call in and go, oh, hey, I want to go to the Marriott in Hawaii on November 11th through the 18th. He's like, it doesn't work like a hotel. He's like, to save money and to use the timeshares, you have to kind of give up that ease of use. So he's like, if you want it to work that easy, then go rent hotel rooms, or go stay in lower end hotels, or go stay in fancy hotels and spend $5,000 or $10,000 a week. Then you can do that. He's like, with a timeshare, you have to trade your week for somebody else's week. So he's like, trading's like baseball cards. He's like, so you have to give up something good for you to get something good. So trading, he's like, is all about trading power and how you do it and whatnot. He's like, where do you own your week? I was like, well, here at the Jockey Club. He's like, yeah. He's like, so it is Vegas, and it is a hot time. It's like red season all the time, because it is like a good time of the, Vegas is very popular. He's all, but there's only so many weeks that are even good. in that time. Why is this not working? Sorry, I wanted to show you as an example in my account how to book a week, reserve week, next week. So he's like, you got to give up something good. He's like, so trading's like baseball cards. He's like, you can't trade a Hyundai for a Mercedes. He's like, you can trade a Mercedes down, but you can't trade your, Hot Springs, Arkansas week in the middle of winter for whatever, Hawaii at Christmas time. Does that make sense? He's all, every week has a point value. And he's like, they don't really tell you this online. So let me see if interval's up here. So like, okay, so say you go onto the interval website. So we'll use mine as an example since I have it up. So if you go into interval, and it works the same on RCI too. So like I own a Marriott Lake Tahoe one. So I own Marriott Timber Lodge. Okay, so the way you find out how much your week is worth, like this thing on the right here, this travel demand index, like I thought that was the weather. I thought it like told you the weather. Okay, so obviously on the left side it shows you the weeks of the year. Week 1 is January 1 through 7. Week 2 is January 7 through 14, or so on and so forth, all the way down. Week 52 is like New Year's, December 28th through January 2nd, or the 26th through the 2nd, something like that. Okay, so see here down at the bottom where it says 50 to 150. This is the thing that most people don't realize. So most people wait till like they're like in July and they're like, oh shit, I got to use my timeshare, and you got to book something. Well, if you, depending upon where you own, you might not even, if you book your week less than 10 months in advance, you lose trading power. So he's like, look, you have to have something good. He's like, so the first rule to exchanging is to go here to this points chart and find the best week you have access to. And the best weeks are the ones to the right. See these blue dots all the way to the right, 150? That means you could trade for anything you want. So look, even ski season, look, like January, the first 4 weeks in January, that should be good, right? It's ski season in Lake Tahoe. But no, only week 7 is a really good week to trade out of that platinum season. And the best weeks are week 25 through 32. So what's that? Like the second week in June through probably the first week in August. So these are your best trading weeks, all right? So what you want to do is go to the resort you own at, whether it's interval or RCI has, the same thing. And then you go here and then you go, okay, look, my best week is either 7, 25 through 32, or 51, 52. Now, and most timeshare developers, week 51, 52, New Year's and stuff, you had to buy that specialty. Like in these summer weeks, I had to buy a platinum summer season week. So there's a lot of weeks. Let's see my account. So you can see I do rentals. Look how many different lines I have here. Okay, so education and resources. So helpful tools. So like whatever developer you own with, whether it's Westin, Hilton, probably the same. Most of them have converted to points, but like even though Marriott's in the point system, I still use it as the weeks most of the time, just because it's easier. Sorry, my account's so bogged down because we have thousands of reservations. It takes forever. Let me see if I could just Google it. Marriott Timber Lodge weeks chart 2020. So you can Google yours too. Most like these timeshare rental place, timeshare week calendar, like Newport, let's see, California, Timber Lodge. Okay, so you can usually pull up, you can just go to, just Google it, right? You can Google anything. And then, so open it up, right? All right, so how do you zoom in? Oh, here we go. There you go, zoom. Okay, so like week 2020, okay? So then you go back to interval, all right? So weeks 25 through 32 are the best, and then week 7, all right? So week 7 Oh, so look, it's Platinum plus President's Day. So you had to buy that week specifically. So you can't even book that week unless you bought that specific week. Okay, so that's out. So I own Platinum Summer. So I only have access to 23 through 26 and 28 through 39. Okay, but see, even though I own that Platinum Summer 23 through 39, not all of the weeks, look at 23 and 24 aren't ranked that high through Interval International. And then 34 through, what was that one? 34. Sorry, must have did too much drugs the other day. My short-term memory's gone. Okay, so 34 through 39, look at these ones are horrible to trade. So you only want to book weeks 25 through 32, okay? So, so in my schedule, week 2020, so week 25 is June 19th through, what was it, 32, through August 16th. So I only want to book a week between June 19th and August 7th, one of these weeks in here, okay? Now, most timeshare developers, including Marriott, to get those specific weeks, you got to plan ahead because like you're not going to call 2 months ahead of time and book a summer platinum week at Timber Lodge. It's just not going to happen. So so for me, next summer is right now. Maybe a little past. So what I did this year is I called and I booked summer for next year already. Yeah, I did that back in June. I did that back in June. So you want to, so find the best week you have access to. All right, so like in my case, it's July, June, right over. So June of this year, 2019, June 14th of 2019, because I can book 12 months out. So June 14th of this year, I booked June 14th of next year through June 21st, 2020, sorry. Okay, now you can go where you want to go. Now you have a week booked at the resort for a good time of the year when people actually want to go. Okay, now you have a 150 week, all right? Now you can go on your trip any time of the year. Okay, so you're covered. So you have a Mercedes now. So if you mess up and you're like, even if it's December, like say at this December, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to book it, and I book it for June, it's not going to have the same trading power because if it's less than 10 months in advance, they drop your trading power. They drop your trading power. So you want to book it a year in advance and deposit it with them immediately. So when you deposit it, you just go here to exchange. On Interval, you go to My Units, okay? And then you just go Deposit Unit. And then you just put the reservation number and the check-in dates and then just press Continue. So like these are all the weeks I own. They're already in the Interval site, all right? Deposit unit. So if I wanted to, so I own a 3-bedroom lock-off. So I could deposit it as a studio and a 2-bedroom, which I do all the time. So if you have a lock-off unit, okay, so here's the one I'm going to use for a request. All right, so if you have a lock-off unit, I always highly recommend locking off the unit. So book your unit for the same date. So book your studio for June 14th through the 21st, and then book your 2-bedroom side for the June 14th to the 21st. Or usually you have a 2-bedroom lock-off, so you book your 1-bedroom side for that and your studio side for that. And then immediately, I mean, within the day or two or hour, you know, whatever, doesn't have to be that day, but go into Interval and then click on Deposit Your Unit and then just put in the confirmation number and walk through the steps. Boom, done. All right, now the hardest part is done. Now you have a Babe Ruth baseball card that you're going to trade, or you're going to have a Mercedes. Now you can go wherever you want, when you want, and it has a documented, well, I don't know, they stopped putting it in that book, but it used to be 97% success rate getting what you want. Since I've done it this way, I have gotten every single trip I've ever wanted. But I do kind of go in the off season because I hate crowds, I hate people. No, I'm just joking. Love you people. And I like it when it's not busy. So now, okay, so we'll go to My History. Okay, so now you have that done. You have your Babe Ruth baseball card. All right. he's like, now here's the other part. He's like, you can't just call up and go, hey, I want to go to Hawaii at the Marriott, whatever. So now, because when you want to go somewhere, let's do this first. Go to where, now you want to go to where you want to go. Actually, if you kind of know where you want to go, you could go there too and see how big of a week you need. So like say you want to go to a good resort, like I want to go to the Marriott in Maui because I own a Marriott. You click on the travel to Mendai. Look at this. Look at all these. Look at how hard it is to get into Maui unless you go in like September through November, which I think is like hurricane season or whatever. But you know, still for the most part, like people want to go in the summer or whatever. Actually, Hawaii is not that hard to, you know. I mean, you need a better week, but so you need to be cognizant of. That's why you want to have a week down here at 150 because then you can trade for anything to the left. Okay, if you booked a week over here, then you can only trade for, like say you booked that 1 week in the summer, even though it was a platinum week and your trading power was only here, you can only book weeks to the left of that. Well, there's no weeks over there. So the reason you call up, when you call up in Hawaii and you're like, hey, I want to go to Hawaii, they just tell you it's not available. They usually don't tell you, oh, you don't have enough trading power to get in there. And that's where most people get frustrated, okay? So it's not that there's nothing there available. It's just your thing is not strong enough to get in there. So that's why you haven't been able to get where you want. Because first thing, book your week there. Okay, now the second thing is, he's like, dude, do you know the likelihood? Because I told him, I was like, I want to stay at the Four Seasons. and he's like, well, people at the Four Seasons, first off, they don't trade their weeks very much because it's the friggin' Four Seasons. But so this is my favorite one, the Four Seasons AVR. It's kind of gone a little downhill the last couple of years, but so see the Four Seasons, even the Four Seasons you could trade into, but there's not a ton of inventory, so it goes off whoever puts in the request first. Okay, so wherever you want to go, whether it's the Four Seasons, whether it's the Marriott in Hawaii. Okay, see these little codes right here? Once you figure out where you want to go, if you want to do it, you can do this on the phone or you can do it online. He's like, do you know what the likelihood is of somebody at the Four Seasons giving up their week on the exact week you want at the exact time you call in? He's like, because weeks at the Four Seasons are just chilling online, you know, because people snap them up if they do become available, you know, because it's a sweet resort. Like if you go online, it costs $6,000 to $10,000 to stay at this place. You can just trade your timeshare. You know, if your maintenance fee is only $800 or $1,500, I mean, you just got a $6,000 or $8,000 week. You know, if you paid $20,000 for your timeshare, well, shit, that's a good deal. I mean, do 2 or 3 of those, do one in Hawaii. Well, you just paid for your $20,000, $30,000 timeshare. And then 10, 15, 20 years from now, if you still own that timeshare, you could probably unload it for 10, 15 grand, and then you got your money back out of it. Now, that's how you use the timeshare. But a lot of people can't go for a whole week, so it's not of value to them. A lot of people go at the last minute and don't plan ahead. So this is a real pain in the you know what if you if you don't like to plan ahead. And not that you have to plan ahead your trip, but you need to book ahead that week so you have the trading power. Okay, so he's like, so the next part is, he's like, you will never, not never, 95% of the time ever get what you want by going up here and going, oh, hey, I want to do an exchange. Let's go to Hawaii. Hawaii. You can get out, buddy. My dog's Houdini. He can get out of any door. I don't even know why I have doors. Like, okay, so you're like, I want to go to Hawaii in November. And I'll go anytime between November and December and Hawaii. Let's see what's available. And you pick, your search doesn't match any place. Yeah, Kona, let's try that. How about Maui? Okay, so you pick Maui, and then you pick which one you're going to use. Oh, shoot, you can't do that. Okay, you got to pick one. See this one, I could use this one. Okay, so you pick which week you're going to use to trade, and then it'll go search, right? Sorry, we did not find any. Okay, so if you've been in timeshare for any length of time, I bet you've seen that a million times. All right, because you're not going to find anything good chilling around online. Like a week at the Westin in Maui is not just hanging out there for you to kind of grow on there. And so that is the hardest part of this timeshare thing. It does work and you can get there, but not doing that way, not going online and not going on every day and looking for it. Oh my God, that would drive me absolutely insane. If you want the lazy man version that almost always works, then here's what you do. And just to show you, I'm not a crazy person. My history, let's see if I can pull it up here. Exchanges. Okay, so these are my last couple years of exchanges. Okay, Marriott Studio, I traded to a Marriott two-bedroom to Marriott Desert Springs two-bedroom. Two-bedroom Timber Lodge, Four Seasons two-bedroom. Studio Marriott to Marriott Summit Watch two-bedroom. Two-bedroom to Hyatt two-bedroom in Sedona. That was a nice resort. Studio to Marriott Newport two-bedroom. Timber Lodge two-bedroom, Four Seasons two-bedroom. Timber Lodge Studio Newport Marriott two-bedroom. Marriott Timber Lodge one-bedroom. Marriott Shadow Ridge two-bedroom. Of course, you can tell I'm a Marriott fan. I love Marriott. It's the greatest company in the world. Studio to Summit Watch Marriott Park City. Two-bedroom Timber Lodge to the Four Seasons two-bedroom. One-bedroom Timber Lodge to Marriott Canyon Villas. That was a cool property. And then a studio to the Marriott Timber Lodge. I'm going there next week. Studio to the Marriott Shadow Ridge Villages, two-bedroom. And then my two-bedroom to the two-bedroom Marriott Park City unit. Okay, so the way I got all these is doing this exact same thing. So once you deposit your unit, once you have your deposit with Interval, don't even try to go to that vacation exchange thing. That's dumb. Do not try to call Interval or RCI and ask them, hey, do you have a week in Hawaii or whatever? Don't even waste your time. Just go to your units, okay? Click on that, then find whatever unit you're going to trade. Or if you do points, it'll say like points here, right? And then it'll, oh yeah, points. So then you could place a request on points, and then you just pick how many points you want to use. All right, so it depends on what time of year. See, they have the schedule right here of the number of points. So it costs more points for the higher exchanges. So they don't, because they don't use weeks anymore. That's why if you have one of the old timeshares where it's weeks, it's actually a much better value as far as trading is concerned. I want to go back. Okay, so forward. Okay, so then if you're doing weeks, so if you do points and weeks, it always works the same. Okay, find your weeks or your points. So I have this one available, and then you do place a request. Okay, so just know if you're going to trade this timeshare, just know 99% of the time. So I like to always do a two-bedroom. Okay, next. Kitchen, yes, okay. So now with Interval, they charge you fees. They used to not even charge you fees to get bigger units, and then they would let you do it. So, I mean, I don't care, pay a couple $100, but that's me. I acknowledge, yes. Go through here. Okay, now, here's the next part. He's like, now, wherever you want to go, try to be as broad as possible on where you want to go, right? So, you can like pull up on another screen, go to Interval World, and then like say you're going to Hawaii. Well, maybe you're not a resort snob like me, and you're like, oh, well, I just want to go somewhere, dude. So you just pull up USA, pull up Hawaii, okay, and you pull up Maui, and then look through these resorts, okay. Look, I mean, there's all these timeshares are really nice. I mean, people buy them from but here's the nicest ones. These little I don't know, weird piece Egyptian signs. These are the best ones. So those are the ones that I like to stay at preferably, okay? So what you do, once you put in your request and you're like, okay, well, I don't care if I stay at the Hyatt or the Marriott or the Westin, if you like the nice ones like me, or the Westin or whatever. Or, I mean, technically you could put up the 58 different resorts, but just for example's sakes, let's say you want the Marriott. So the code's MMO and MM1. So then you go back to, and then you put MMO, okay, Marriott Maui Ocean Club, and then you put MM1, Marriott Maui, and then what was the other one? Oh, the Hyatt Residence Club, HKB. Well, if I'm going to do one, I want to go to Kauai. That's kind of where I want to go. Or where's the Marriott Kauai Beach Club? Oh, yeah, here's the Marriott Kauai Lagoons. So these ones are cool. So like MAW, MA1. Sorry, because I know I'm going to forget and I'll get a trade and I'll be like, what? MMA. What was it? Jeez, I shouldn't have done so many drugs. MAW. Oh, not even close. Okay. All right, good. MAW. Okay. So Marriott Wild High Beach Club, and then Marriott Kauai Lagoon, so MKI. And where's the one? They have one by Disney too, Marriott Koalina. Where's that Marriott Koalina? Anyways, for vacation, and the Westin in Princeville, that one's really nice too. So the WPV, so WPV. Okay, and then you go, okay, well, I want to go 2020. So, and then the farther out you can pick it, the better off you're going to be, because you'll be the first in line. So whoever puts in the request first goes on the line. And then whoever has the highest trading week goes to the top of the list, okay? Or whoever put it in the most first as well. Most first. That's why I'm teaching homeschool English, because I'm pretty sweet. Okay, so August. Say I want to go August 2020. So I'll say I'll go anytime between August and October. All right, so now I'll go anytime. So he's like, so be as broad as you can on any of the parameters. So either pick a wide range of dates. Like say you don't have to tell work till 4, 5, 6 months in advance, and you're booking this a year out because you want to buy airfare when it's cheaper anyways. Well, give them a 2-month window. Give them more than one property, okay? Now, if you only want to stay at that one resort, like, oh, what are you like? I want to stay at the Disney Alani, you know, and take the kids to it. You know, and do that, then pick that resort, but try to pick, you know, I'll go anytime between June and August, like everybody else. So you definitely want to be as broad as possible. So either be as broad as possible on the dates, or pick multiple resorts, or just pick one resort, or just pick one date and say, well, you know, our kids have soft, you know, baseball and, you know, ballet practice or whatever, and we can only get away the second week in July. So just pick that week, but then try to pick like 5 or 10 different properties. The more you pick in any of the parameters, the faster you'll get what you want. And since I've done it this way, you can see from my list how many trades I've got. I have personally never waited more than about 10 days, except for on maybe one of the Four Seasons ones. And it just worked. Most of the time it's within 2 days they'll get you. Let's see, I'm going to put this in, and then I'll make another video and see how fast I got it, okay? Because then if you do get it and you don't want it, you can, actually, I'm going to try, yeah, okay. Westin. No, I don't retrade. And then if you don't want it, you have 24 hours when it comes in. So keep it, when you have a search going, keep an eye on your mail, because they'll just send you the confirmation letter. Because what happens once you put the search in, the computer searches 24 hours a day for you. You don't have to keep going on there and looking, and then you just review your request, and then put in the. Yes, I don't want trip protection. No, shit. Well, I don't know if I will put that on the video, but anyways, so when you put the search in, the computer is going to be searching 24 hours a day for you. Then when somebody at the Westin or somebody at the Marriott, once they deposit their week like you did, boom, the computer spits it out to you. all right? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to keep going online. You don't have to keep looking. You don't have to keep searching or worry about it. Just put in your request. And you can do this all over the phone too if you're not good on the internet or whatever. You can do this all over the phone, and they will put in the search for you. And they used to put it in their magazines. Ongoing searches have a 97% success rate. So it works. It works. I swear to you, it works. I mean, obviously, it's not perfect. You're not going to be able to go to New York on New Year's, 3 weeks in advance. Still, you got to be a little reasonable. Yeah. So if you want to make a trade, do what that guy taught me. Book your good week a year. First find out what weeks you have access to that you own. What seasons? What specific weeks? Because you only have to do this one time. And maybe even if you call who you own with, they can tell you that without you having to do that. And then go to interval. Find out which weeks are the highest ranks in your developer. Because a lot of times, like, even people think, oh, I own Hawaii, it's so awesome, right? Like you would think, because you pay $50,000 for it. But look, like if you booked week August through November, thinking that's a good time, it's not really that good of a trading week, even though it's Hawaii. So be careful. So find the best week you have access to, and put that in your calendar a year to the day, or 11 months or 13 months, whatever your developer lets you book. Put that in your phone, and every year call and book that next unit the next year. Okay? And then if you have a lock-off, I would always split it, unless you're financially challenged and you don't have the money to do upgrades and trades and things like that, then do not do it. Because with your maintenance fees, and then you pay the trade upgrade and the trade fee, I mean, you need to trade to some of these nicer properties to make it worthwhile. Otherwise, just if you're not going to trade and go to these nicer places, then just get rid of your timeshare. Because I mean, there's a lot of places you could stay for $1,000 to $2,000, that are fairly decent. If you don't want to have to stay at these nicer ones. So if you want to get out of the timeshare, link in the description. I have a way. I made a deal with this guy named John Kirk, and he can get you out of your timeshare even if you have a loan. There's a lot of scams out there. If you're trying to sell your timeshare, do not pay anybody up front more than $50 to sell your timeshare, no matter how good of a story they have. I mean, I worked for one of those places, and I believed them when I was selling them. The guys, they go to jail all the time in Florida. They're always arrested. People still pay them all the time. Please do not pay anybody who says they can sell your timeshare up front, but they need $500 or $2,000. Now, I say that in my book. You can get my book, Timeshare Tips and Tricks, on Amazon, or you can get it on our website, timesharesimplified.com. I also have a bundle on there, like for $87, and we give you 2 free ads if you want to rent out your timeshare. I give you the book. I give you the rental guidebook if you want to try to rent it yourself. I give you a free vacation. Not a free vacation. You pay the taxes on it. And then I don't know, there's a couple other goodies on there that you can buy for the $87 package on timesharesimplified.com. And then if you need us to help you rent it out, we charge, well, I guess it depends on when you watch the video. Currently, we charge $50. It's non-refundable, and that allows us to do the research on your week, find out how much we think we can rent it for, find out the best kind of times of the year for you, and pays for your Red Week ad, and then we take a 15% commission. Now these prices could change, obviously, depending upon when you're watching the video, but as of right now, that's kind of what we do. And then you send us the week, and then we list it for you, do all the rental and all that process, all that good stuff. You can be like the lady who spent me an hour on the phone today to book a room, and then 10 minutes later wanted to cancel. So you got that going for you. So, and the people whose dogs are going to die, but then they figure out they can't cancel, and then all of a sudden the dog makes a miraculous recovery. So yeah, we handle all that for you, so you don't have to worry about that. We just send you a check. So we can help you with the rental part. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the YouTube video below. We'll try to help you with any subjects you're having trouble with, and let us know how we can help you. Even if you just need advice, send me an email. Send an email to our company. One of the girls get back to you, or I'll tell them what to tell you. And thanks for watching. God bless. Take care. I'll see you next time.